Randy Lee, Lee, and I am first woodwind player of the Dallas Summer Musicals in Dallas. I've lived in Dallas for about 40 years, and I'm also a private teacher in Plano. I have about 40 kids that I teach, and between playing Broadway shows, playing with the Dallas and Fort Worth Symphony Pops series, anytime the orchestra needs saxophone players, they'll call me. So I'm working days doing that and then playing shows. Typical Broadway series is 8 shows a week. So that's what I'm doing.
Cool, that sounds really interesting. Yeah, obviously you're back here at Paschal. What are some of the feelings you're seeing as you're seeing your old band members?
I'm seeing some old friends, people I remember, some people I wished I had remembered but don't. But I was only at Paschal for about a year and a half, and I loved my time here because when I was a senior, every class that I had, with the exception of English, was a band class. And Paschal really influenced me because I was able to concentrate on what I loved, which at the time was jazz. And there was a great jazz program. Phil Hewitt was in charge of the program. And we had as good a high school band as any college band in the country, with maybe the exception of the 1 o'clock lab band. So my time at Paschal was spent honing my craft, learning that I loved jazz and wanted to be a jazz player more than anything, and I became one.
Yeah, I mean, you touched on it just a second ago of what you've been doing now. So what have you done musically since you left Paschal? What's your story been?
Well, my story is that I went from high school to college. I auditioned as a freshman and made the 1 o'clock lab band, and a pretty famous group. And that's kind of a fraternity. Once you're in the 1 o'clock lab band, you meet people and you keep friends with them for the rest of your life. And a lot of them moved on to New York, a lot of them moved on to LA. And I stayed here and got married and had a family and raised kids. And I went to North Texas, and then after that I settled in Dallas as a working freelance musician and played in everything from rock and roll bands to soul bands and funk groups to jazz groups, to went on and did the summer musicals now. Like I said earlier, I am the first woodwind player of the Dallas Summer Musicals, and that keeps me pretty busy. Now I'm teaching, so it's been a lifelong career being a musician. I'm certainly not getting wealthy, but I'm enjoying what I do, and I feel very blessed that I'm able to make a living doing something that I really truly love and I'm pretty good at.
Yeah, I mean, they always say that every day that you enjoy work, it's not work at all. So you would say that, you know, music is your passion.
Yeah, it's always been my passion, and it always will be. I delved into the art world briefly for about 5 years. And when I was in Paschal, I did a little bit of acting. I think it's all connected. I don't know what side of the brain that's left or right. I guess it's right side of your brain, but I think it's all connected. And it's been my whole life being a musician, and I wouldn't change it for anything. I've truly loved it. I've traveled the world, worked with Frank Sinatra, worked with Elvis Presley, I worked with Ella Fitzgerald. I've been so fortunate to play with so many people and had such a wonderful time getting to know some of these people.
Now, doing all this, what would you say was your inspiration that really made you want to do this, that said, this is what I want to do?
Well, I have a quick little story. A friend of mine named David Potter called me on the telephone and turned me on to a jazz club. He said, hey, put the phone down. He called me on the phone some Sunday afternoon. He said, put the phone down and turn the radio on all the way, AM, all the way to the left as far as you can. So I put the phone down, ran over, turned on the stereo, turned it all the way to the left, and I hear a saxophone player playing 100 miles an hour with an organ group. And I thought, man, that's the best thing I've ever heard. And I went back to the phone, and I go, yeah, I got it. He goes, that's here in Fort Worth on Rosedale and Evans Avenue, and next Sunday we're going. And I went, and so to make a long story short, I had the daytime schooling and then night times in the ghetto in the clubs, the black clubs. Not only was I the only white kid in there, I was the only kid in there. So it's a lesson, daytime lesson and a nighttime lesson. And that inspired me so much that I just had to I had to do that for the rest of my life.
Wow, that's really cool. And I guess, is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, I'm just glad to be here. And if music is your passion, go for it. Don't listen to anybody tell you can't do it. It's a tough life, but a very, very rewarding life. And thanks for having me on today.
Thank you.